Greetings, everybody. Nina the Mystic here, and welcome to another Let's Talk with Robert V and myself. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the Hopi Prophecy, and most importantly, how it correlates with what's happening in the world today, and the players on the stage today, and all of that good stuff. So, yeah, how you doing tonight, Robert?
Doing great. Looking forward to this. Are the prophecies true? Oh boy.
Yes.
We're going
Well,
to find out tonight, aren't we?
I wouldn't be bringing it up if I didn't think there was something here, So there was a few things that caught my eye. I haven't really studied that much about the native legend myths, that you have. You have, done quite a few shows now on that whole topic. So I'm assuming that you probably know a lot more about the natives than I do, even though I do have actually some native background. For those who are interested, if you're watching this and you're into the native thing, I'm actually ancestry to one of the first settlers that came from France that moved over to back East Canada and settled down with a native lady there. And so I am part French Canadian and part of that whole beginning of all of that. So you wouldn't know it by looking at me, but my grandma, so this is on my mother's side. So my grandmother, who was short, dark, like she looks the part, married a tall, blonde Englishman. And so that's where my mom got the tallness and the blonde from. And then, of course, she married a Norwegian guy, and that diluted that down even more. But yeah, so but still, it's flowing in my veins. And I've always resonated with the native thing. And I just love, watching them dance and all that kind of stuff. It does. Yeah, there's definitely something there that's part of my past, so very interesting. But before we get going, if you guys don't mind, it doesn't look like the algorithms is on my side again today. So whoever's here, make sure that you guys are smashing that like button, share it out to a couple places and see if we can't get some more people in here. YouTube is not helping me at all, as you know, and yeah, greatly appreciate if you guys can help us out that way. And of course, I got Robert's links down in the description as well. And I also got the link to the thing that we're going to be reading today will be in the description if you want to pull it up. If you're on a PC, you can pull it up and read along. There's no way for me to make the writing any bigger. So I don't know if you're going to be able to see it on your screen. But if you have a PC, you can pull it up, outside of the YouTube and read it for yourself there if you'd like to. But before we get going with that, I do want to mention, actually, as I was doing a research today, I watched a bunch of videos and read a bunch of things, and I found out that the Hopi are best friends with, or were best friends with, the Mayans. I thought that was very interesting. The Mayans are no longer with us now. They kind of disappeared. I don't know exactly what happened to them. I guess that's a whole show in itself, but I'm sure most people have heard about the Mayan calendar and how that was supposed to end in 2012 and all this kind of thing. Anyways, when I left Christianity, the Mayan calendar thing was one of the first things that I actually studied. And so this all kind of came back to me as I was doing some research on the Hopis here. And I realized that I actually have the Mayan calendar conversion codex thing here. They have their own astrology type of thing, and all you need is your birth date. And you can, get a whole reading on, from the Mayans. And it's very, very interesting. It's quite accurate. And so if anybody's interested in receiving a reading like that, hit me up. We can do a private session. There's a lot of things that I can do during the private sessions. The Mayan calendar, I guess, is one, dream interpretations, you name it, that we could be doing during those private sessions. So just email me, okay? And we can talk about that, set that up if you're interested in that. I also want to bring up, just show you guys some of the new stuff in the merch store. I'm sure you've seen it already. If you're on social media, I did post up some stuff here. But I did add a swimsuit in here just in time for spring break and summer and all that good stuff. Now you have a swimsuit. And I also added in another one of the Anthahkarana t-shirts here. The reason being is that I realized when you go through, I do have a lot of stuff in here. Go and check it out, guys, okay? And I don't know if the colors are really going to show up accurately on your end. So again, go in there and check it out. But the one that was in there is a different brand. It is called a men's premium heavyweight tea, and they only have sort of the neutral colors. This is white, agave, charcoal heather, carbon gray, and black. So this will definitely be good for the men out there, I guess, or for those who are interested in these neutral colors. Okay, and because the ladies' T-shirt was discontinued, I thought, you know what, I gotta get it in some more colors here. So I added the Gildan, which is my favorite, anyways. And it is called a unisex classic tee. So this is the one that I use from now on. Usually when I add things to my store, it's going to be this one here because it's a unisex and I love it. I love the quality of it. And it does have some more choices in colors. So I added azalea here. We got helizonia, royal blue, purple, and of course the black in this logo. Okay, so you got two different styles of t-shirts with more variety of colors in here now. So hopefully there's something in there of interest to you. This is a great way to support the channel. We have this new logo. It's not as new now, but it does come in women's racerback tank top. So women do have their own tank tops. They just don't have their own fitted t-shirt now. But I do have a lot of different things in store, including wine tumblers there, hoodies, shirts, you name it, in 4 different logos. So if one logo doesn't appeal, maybe another one does. Of course, I'm the only one online that sells anything Anthahkarana. And so I got a lot of different merch with the Anthahkarana in different styles and sizes and colors. Some of the items go all the way up to 5X. So no matter how big you are, there should be something in here for you. Okay. So go and check that out. That's the link is pinned in the chat right now if you want to go shopping while we talk. Or if not, if you're watching on the replay, then you can find it down in the description of the video. Let me get rid of that thing there. There we go. There we go. Yeah, so go and check that out. I see there's a couple people in here now. But if you guys don't mind hitting that like as you're getting settled in and share this out a couple places, that would help me out greatly to see if we can get somebody, some more people in here. The algorithms were definitely not on my side today, so that's too bad. But here we go. We're doing the show anyways. And so, yeah.
Speaking of the Mayans, little tidbit on top of that is, according to what I've read, was that the Hopi would have probably came from the south after this great flood, and they were told to go to the to the north and settle in the Four Corners region of the United States. So if you know where the Four Corners is, in that area,
Right.
that's where they settled in that spot. They were also at some point in time, just before the white man came, they were given this prophecy, or so. We think it's, they say maybe thousands of years. But your interpretation of that could be who knows, because they don't write a lot of stuff down. But the idea is that they were given this prophecy by the Great Mystery or the Great Spirit, before the white man came. And this is not a Nostradamus prophecy where you have to really, really see into it and determine what's what, because Nostradamus wrote everything in code. You can only see it after it happens. Most of this stuff is pretty blatantly right there in front of your face because it's been pictures. Put it that way.
Yeah, so we're gonna go through it. I got this thing, like I said, I got the link down in the description there. If you want to go and read along while I'm reading, or read it later. just kind of go over the whole thing, assuming that you haven't maybe read any of it, or some of you may not have heard of this at all. So we're going to go over it, and yeah, some of it already has happened, and some of it is very sort of obvious, but some things might not be, So considering that this is from way back, this wasn't just last year that they came out with this, like. But then again, it wasn't that long ago either. You said something about 1959 or something like that, which is that when they found
Yeah, it kind of came out in 1959. And then there was this book that they wrote. A guy wrote a book, and this Frank Waters, he wrote The Prophecy of the Hopi. And then in 2010, another guy wrote a paper for a university under the name Mobius Rex. And that's where it really came in, just before 2012, where everything was going to happen.
Yeah, everything was about Mayan then.
In 2012.
Yeah, well, that's why I got into it too.
And
10, 11, wherever it was, somewhere in there where I, got the Mayan calendar thing and whatever. But, it makes me wonder, because, we talk about universal consciousness and how people seem to pick up. There's not just one person that picks it up. There's several. And I'm feeling that, it came into the universal consciousness at the right time, when it needed to come out, when these people needed to write this book, because now we're getting so close to the end. I mean, 59 seems like a long time ago. Most of us weren't even born yet.
Yeah, and, so in 59, it came out from the natives, and then that spread, and there was another book that came out more or less in 1963, but it never really gained headwater after that. Like you're talking about. It just kind of fizzled. But
I can see that because people think, oh, well, that's just. Yeah, well, a lot of people kind of dismiss it. Oh, that's just, old native, whatever, and they don't pay attention.
Of course.
And, that kind of thing, right? Until we start, I just sort of picked up on this now, when some of the things are, we're so close. We're right at the door now of these prophecy, and that's why I'm bringing it up. We really need to start paying attention to this stuff. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, it wasn't discovered just last year. This, the books were written, in 59, and there was something else in the 60s. And that famous video that everybody sees when you do go and research it, I believe that was in 1972. So again, that was quite a while ago. And yet the Hopis have known this, obviously, all along. But, they didn't write things down because nobody knew how to read and write back in the day. It was all oral, passed down orally, and so all the native kind of stuff. So this is why it's so important to have the elders around, not to dismiss the elders, because they're the only ones that know the stuff, So, but anyways, let's not waste any more time on that. Let's get in here. And so this is the paper that I have, or whatever this place that I have. I thought was kind of neat because to me it kind of summarized it all. There is some pictures in here, but unfortunately I can't make it any bigger. So yeah, you'll have to read it for yourself. Maybe I do have the link down below here. So this is the Hopi Blue Star or Blue Kachina prophecy. Now I know I've heard about the Kachina. It sounds familiar to me. It has definitely come across my awareness at some point, but I didn't really pick up on it too much. And once I start reading in here, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is all tying in with the Anunnaki stuff. I saw a lot of Anunnaki connections in here as I was reading, and so I'll see what you guys have to say afterwards here. But I'll just read it here if I can get through it. I'm starting to feel dryness in my throat already here. I'm suffering from some allergies, guys, so just apologize for the nasalness, and I might have a cough here and there, so just bear with me, guys, okay? All right, I'm going to start down here. An ancient Hopi Indian prophecy states, when the blue star Kachina makes its appearance in the heaven, the fifth world will emerge. This will be the day of purification. The Hopi's name for the star is Sirius. I've heard about that. And they call so Sirius is the blue star Kachina. Okay? According to the ancient alien theory, the blue Kachina are aliens. Okay, so this has a huge Anunnaki. So Anunnaki is not a Species, it's a blanket term for from heaven they came. So whether they were from Syria or whether they're from, who knows? You know what I mean? But it definitely has that Anunnaki sort of feeling to it here. And it has to do with the aliens and probably why a lot of the mainstream everything didn't really pick this story up too much. You know, it didn't go too far. You know what I mean? Because of that. That doesn't fit their narrative with the religious text. However, you are going to see a lot of your religious text in here. So, you know, but that's we'll talk about that after. I'm not sure if this is just somebody trying to dress up as that. I'm not sure why that's there, but reality is a metaphor in which we quest to find answers to the greater truth and who we are and why we're here. Something in our soul tells us that change is happening on a global consciousness level. The blue frequency is part of that. Ceres is Isis. Okay, so it all goes back to the Egyptian stuff as well. Rebirth of consciousness. Blue links to higher future frequencies of consciousness as we spiral up through the pattern of sacred geometry, which we know is very important. Blue, white blue, blue black. Blue is the color of electricity, which I thought was kind of interesting as well. Our reality is a bipolar electromagnetic energy grid program. I resonate with that. Blue bloods, allegedly in our alien race who seeded this reality, sometimes linked to the Pleiades or Ceres, Isis. Again, you know, the Anunnaki, you know, they wanted to keep the bloodline pure, and we call them blue bloods, right? The royals, all of that, it all kind of resonates. It all kind of comes together. We got blue galaxies, blue chakra, right? Blue ray is the ascended master pantheon of teachers. Our consciousness hologram ends up of the blue and into the black. And this is the prophecy rock that they talk about in that video that's so famous when he's standing there and showing it off. But this is a picture of it and the diagram of it. And we're going to talk about this, okay, because this does, this is part of it, guys, okay? It is part of our history, sort of. Near Oriabi, Arizona, there's a petroglyph known as the prophecy rock, which symbolizes many Hopi prophecies. Its interpretation is, okay, so this is this guy's interpretation, really. And that's the thing about any book or any video or anything, it's going to be that person's interpretation of things that he or she has already heard from before or read or whatever. You know what I mean? So take it with a grain of salt. Do your own research, obviously, but we're going to go over the things here, okay? The large human figure on the left is the Great Spirit. So that will be right here, I guess. The bow on the left hand represents his instructions to the Hopi to lay down their weapons. The vertical line to the right of the Great Spirit is the time scale in thousands of years. The point at which the Great Spirit touches the line is the time of his return. Okay? The life path established by the Great Spirit divides into the lower, narrow path of continuous life in harmony with nature and the wider upper road of a white man's scientific achievements. The bar between the paths above the cross is the coming of white man. The cross is that of Christianity. The circle below the cross represents the continuous path of life. The four small human figures on the upper road represents on one level, the past three worlds and the present. On another level, the figure indicates that some of the Hopi will travel the white man's path, having been seduced by its glamour. The two circles of the lower path of life are the great shaking of the earth. So the World War I and II. Okay. This symbol here, I don't even want to say it because it's going to trigger, but it is the symbol that Mr. H used in the mid-40s for his political party in Germany. It is a very sacred sun symbol, and we're going to go into it a little bit here. Fortunately, that symbol itself has now been gaslit, obviously, but it is a very powerful symbol regardless. That symbol is in the sun, and the Celtic cross represents the two helpers of Pahana, the true white brother. The short line that returns to the straight path of life is the last chance for people to turn back to nature before the upper road disintegrates and dissipates. The small circle above the path of life after the last chance is the great uh, uh, where is it? The great doesn't purification, after which corn will grow in abundance again when the great spirit returns and the path of life continues forever. Now we know from the Anunnaki they gave us corn apparently, and corn is very, very important to the natives. And so I feel a strong connection to the Anunnaki here with the natives. The Hopi shield in the lower right corner symbolizes the earth and the four corner area where the Hopi have been reserved. The arms of the cross also represents the four direction in which they migrated across the instructions of the Great Spirit. The dots represent the four colors of Hopi corn and the four racial colors of humanity. We are all related by Dr. Alan Ross. So I think he wrote a famous book. He might be the one that you talked about, the book that was written. I think that was him, Dr. Alan Ross.
Yeah.
The end of all Hopi ceremonialism will come when Kachina removes his mask during a dance in the plaza before uninitiating children, the general public. For a while, there will be no more ceremonies, no more faith. Then Orabi, whatever that is, will be rejuvenated with his faith and ceremonies, marking the start of a new cycle of Hopi's life. That's basically their thing in a nutshell there. World War III will be started by those people who first revealed the light, the divine wisdom or intelligence in the other old countries like India, China, Islamic nations, and Africa. The United States will be destroyed, land and people by atomic bombs and radioactivity. Only the Hopi and their homeland will be preserved. Now, when I'm reading this, I'm seeing a lot of hopium here as well. Just like Christianity, they think that they're going to be saved, just like the Jews think that they're the only special ones. They're going to be. So I'm seeing a lot of that in here as well, which I guess they have to give us some kind of hopium in order for us to want to have the will to carry on. I don't know, but it's there. I don't know if I believe that. If this is going to happen, there's no way that you're not going to be affected if you're here. So
Yeah.
so I don't know. So again,
But
yeah.
But here's the thing. In their prophecy, as we'll go down there, they're not gonna be here. They're gonna be whisked away to safety somewhere else, and then whoever's left will have to be here. It's kind of like the Christianity thing.
I was going to say, it sounds just like the Christians. They think that they're going to get raptured out before this happens. So it seems to me like the more I study religion and the old stuff, it's the same storyline essentially. And so again, take this with a grain of salt. We're going to go into some more afterward. I just want to bring this to your attention. I'm hoping it's not going to take too long, but I found it very interesting. All right. Only the Hopi and their homeland will be preserved as an oasis to which refugees will flee. Bomb shelters are a fallacy. We don't even have those here in North America, by the way. They have some in Europe, of course, because we've been through it before. But here, there's no fallout shelters here at all, just so you know. And then, so they're saying here, it's only materialistic people who seek to make shelter. So if you're a spiritual person, you shouldn't worry about passing over anyways, which I don't, you know what I mean? So, but those who are at peace in their heart already are in the great shelter of life. And that's the thing. And this is why, I talk about it, and why everybody's talking about, getting ready spiritually. Having a light heart. The Egyptians talk about the weighing of the heart, right? It's nothing to do with the actual weight of the heart. It has to do with how much are you holding on to, and this is where forgiveness comes in. You're not doing it for them. You're doing it for you, so that you can lessen your burden. You're not feeling guilty. You're not feeling bad about things. You know what I mean? You got to come to grips with with what you've done and whatever, and forgive and all that kind of stuff. And that includes yourself, right? And all this kind of stuff. So once you're there, then you don't care if you're crossing over. So this is why, you know, it is important to be in that spot. You know what I mean?
When,
Um,
when it went on with this, you know, it kept reminding me of is that Left Behind series. You
yes.
know, have you ever seen some of that Left
Oh
Behind?
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what it's reminding me of. And I'm reading on and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this sounds like Left Behind. Like,
It
is this
does.
where the guy
It
wrote it?
does. And so that's another discussion maybe for another day, because I don't think we're going to be able to fit all this stuff
Oh
in
yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah. No, I just
We
wanted to
might
bring it
actually
up
do
if
a
you
series
thought the
on this.
same
I
thing.
don't know. We might do a series on this. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, it's amazing how you know, this all sounds so familiar. You know, there is no shelter for evil. Apparently, those who take no part in the making of world decisions by ideology or are ready to resume life in another world by the black, white, red, yellow race. They're all one, brothers. Of course, we all are all one. You know what I mean? The human race. So there will be a spiritual conflict with material matters. Material matters will be destroyed by spiritual beings who will remain to create one world. And this was another one that said, "Oh, really? Who will remain to create one world and one nation under one power?" Really? That sounds very familiar to me. And I thought we were kind of going against that. Again, red flags. I don't know. You know what I mean? Who wrote this, anyways? You know what I mean? That's what they're wanting to do, really. Okay, that time is not far off. I will come when the and don't ask me to say this. Shakashu, the blue star, Kachina, dances in the plaza and removes his mask. He represents a blue star, far off and yet invisible, which will make it appearance soon. The time is foretold by a song sung during the Wumachim ceremony. Pardon me for totally butchering that. It was sung in 1914, just before World War One, and again in 1940, just before World War Two, describing this unity, corruption, and hatred contaminating Hopi rituals, which were followed by the same evils spreading over the world. The same song was sung in 1961 during the something ceremony, a Wuchum ceremony. The emergency
Yeah.
of the future fifth world has begun. It is being made by the humble people of little nations, tribes, and racial minorities. You can read this in the earth itself. Plant forms for previous worlds are beginning to spring up. Seeds as described in the SW2. Effects are coming. Event number 1. This could start a new study of Bhutan, and people were wise enough to read them. The same kind of seeds are being planted in the sky as stars. The same kind of seeds are being planted in our hearts. All these are the same, depending on how you look at them. That is what makes the emergence to the next fifth world. Um, Seeds could be words, books. You know, that's the thing that you got to keep that in mind. These comprise the 9 most important prophecies of the Hopi, connected with the creation of the 9 worlds. Now, the 9 worlds is in a lot of other different texts as well, including the Norse mythology. Got the 9 worlds in there as well. I found that very interesting. That's very similar. They all kind of agree on the 9 worlds. I thought that was interesting. The 3 previous worlds of which we live, the present fourth world, the 3 future worlds we have yet to experience, and the world of Taiawa, the creator, and his nephew Sutna. Again, this kind of reminds me of Anunnaki, with the names and his nephew. Really, like, I don't know. This does sound like something like that. The Hopi and others who
Mhm.
were saved from the great flood made a sacred covenant with the Great Spirit, never to turn away from him. Great flood. Well, that's also in the Bible. So that's interesting. We
Mhm.
did have a great flood. There's evidence of great flood here. So that's interesting. Covenant with the Great Spirit, never to turn away from him. He made a set of sacred stone tablets. That sounds familiar as well. Called Tiponi. in which he breathed his teachings, prophecies, and warnings before the Great Spirit said himself again. He placed before the leaders of the 4 different racial groups 4 different colors and sizes of corn. Each was to choose which would be their food in this world. The Hopi waited until the last and picked the smallest ear of corn. At this, the Great Spirit said, "It is well done. You have obtained the real corn, for all the others are imitations in which are hidden seeds of different plants. You have shown me your intelligence. For this reason, I will place your hands the sacred stone tablets, tiponi, symbol of power and authority, over all land and life to guard, protect, and hold in trust for me until I shall return to you in later day. For I am the first and I am the last." Where does this all sound familiar?
I am that I am.
I'm the Alpha and the Omega, and I'm the first and
Yep.
the last. Yeah, Alpha and Omega. That's what that means. And
Yep.
so it makes you wonder, like, what came first? You know what I
Yep.
mean? So again, take this with a grain of
That's why I'm.
salt.
That's why I'm wondering. That's why I'm wondering if this kind of got tangled up at some point in time with Christianity, because like I said, this didn't all come out until the early 1900s, the late 1800s, and then all of a sudden it's like there it is. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
almost like
Why
maybe
weren't they?
trying to convert the natives in their own language, in their own teaching, you know what I mean? So that
Well,
it sounds the same
well,
as
exactly.
that could
Yeah.
be. So keep that in mind, guys. This is not, we don't know. So again, take it with a grain of salt. The great chieftain of the Bo clan led the faithful ones to his new land, but he fell into evil ways. His 2 sons scolded him for his mistake, and after he died, they assumed the responsibility of leadership. Each brother was given a set of tiponi, which was the stone tablets, and both were instructed to carry them to a place to which the Great Spirit directed them. The elder brother of the shining light was told to go immediately to the east, toward the rising sun, and upon reaching his destination, to start back immediately to look for his younger brother, who remained on Turtle Island, the continental United States of America. I thought that was interesting. We're living on Turtle Island, apparently.
Well,
And
yeah.
then I'm assuming this is the tree of life. I thought that was kind of interesting. All right, so we're on
That's why
Turtle Island.
they call the Four Corners region the Turtle Land.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't know why either. That is very interesting. Interesting kind of drawing there. His mission was to help his younger brother to bring forth the purification day, at which time all evildoers will be punished and destroyed. It sounds just like freaking, after which real peace, brotherhood, and everlasting life would be established. The elder brother would restore all land to his younger brother, from whom the evil one among the white men had taken it. The elder brother of the shining light would also come to look for the Tipani tablets and fulfill the mission given to him by the Great Spirit. The younger brother was instructed to travel throughout the land and mark his footsteps as he went about. Both brothers were told to have that a great white star would appear in the sky. When that happened, all people would know that the elder brother had reached his destination. Thereupon, all people were to settle wherever they happened to be at the time, there to remain until the elder brother returned. The Hopi settled in the area now known as the Four Corners, which the state line of Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, and Colorado meets. They lived in the humbly simplicity, and the land produced abundant crops. The area is the heart of Turtle Island, the U.S., and the Mother Earth, and it is a microcosmic image of the microcosm of the entire planet. Each Hopi clan perpetrates a unique ceremony, and the ceremonies together maintain a balance of natural forces of sunlight, rain, and wind that reaffirm the Hopi respect for all life and trust in the Great Spirit. The Hopi were told that at the time, white men would come and take their land and try to lead the Hopi into evil ways. But in spite of all the pressure against them, the Hopi were told they must hold to their ancient religion and their land through always, though always without violence. If they succeed, they were promised that their people and their land would be the center from which the true spirit to be reawakened. It is said that after many years, the elder brother might change his color of skin, but his hair will remain black. Okay, so this was something that Robert and I was talking about. And this came to
Yep.
me as a little download as I was reading this. But his hair will remain black. Now, that means, to me, this means that he's still young. If a guy's got black hair, he's still young. If he's old, it's gray. That's what came
that's
to
true.
me. It's not anything to do with blonde people, redhead, or any other color. It has to do with the length of time as in a human life, that he's still young enough that he still has black hair, is what I got from this. Okay. Now you might have some other things on that, but he will have the ability to write, and he will be the only person able to read the Tiffany tablets. When he returned to find his younger brother, the Tiffany will be placed side by side to show all the world that they are true brothers. The great judgment will take place, for the elder will help the younger brother to obtain real justice for all Indian brothers who have been crucially mistreated by the white man since he came to Turtle Island. The transformed elder brother, the true white brother, will wear a red cloak or a red cap. Now this is what caught my attention.
Yep.
Who's famous for the red cap?
Yeah, it is, and a lot of people want to go with the guy who's wearing the red cap right away. But then again, he is old and his hair is kind of gray. It's graying up. I mean, he's a red-haired guy,
That's
but
true.
or the orange man, but you look, his hair is pretty gray now.
He definitely does not have black hair. So I don't know
Definitely
exactly
does
where
not have
that.
black.
There's a couple of other things in here as well that will kind of go with why we're thinking that this is him. It's not just the red cap, but so the true white brother will wear a red cap, okay? But then this I didn't understand. Similar to the pattern on the back of the horned toad. Now I looked up to the horned toad. I'm not going to show the horned toad. I didn't see any correlation to the red cap with the horned toad. I didn't see anything that stood out to me when I looked up the horned toad.
When you were talking about all of this stuff, now if Elon Musk would have kept wearing the red cap, I could see that in a way, but he changed the hat to a black hat. He wears a black hat.
So there's two. So I don't know if you've noticed, but every social media, their icons, their logos, they also have a black and white one. I don't know if you've noticed. I even showed you PayPal has even got a black and a white logo as well now. So they have both. They're not getting rid of the red, but they're also got a black. So there's both. You got your colored one, and then you got your black one, depending on which hat you want to wear today, right? Are you dark today, or are you red? You know what I mean? So, but just let me finish here with this whole thing, because there's more to it here. He will bring no religion but his own, and will bring him to the Tiffany tablets. Now, we did a show on the whole. Now, what was that name again? What was that? The thing that they carry around with from the Christians. I couldn't remember.
The Ark of the Covenant.
The Ark of the Covenant. Okay, well, apparently Trump had the Ark of the Covenant in his house for 9 months. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. There's no official stories on it. The press didn't go on there and do any spectacle out of it. So I don't know if it was true or not. Although we've seen some photos, but I saw that one photo and I could tell right away that it was Photoshopped. So I don't know. But are they putting it out there for us to see it here? Yes, see what I'm saying? They're little clues. They're little things that normally maybe other people wouldn't even notice that until they start reading this. I'm like, oh yeah, remember, you know what I mean? Hang on, I gotta, where are here. I just gotta mute myself for a second.
Oh, anyway, yeah, we have to look at all the sources.
Right. Yeah. Anyways, all right. Let me get a little bit of water here. Yeah. So anyway, so that's something that stuck out for me. He apparently, because in that covenant is the tablet of destiny, the tablet apparently. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. He will be all powerful. None will be able to stand against him. And you know, you can see what he's doing today. Nothing stops Trump. If he wants it, he's gonna go and get it, including Canada, Greenland. No matter, he's gonna take it. He doesn't care. So that's definitely the energy that he has. He will come swiftly and in one day gain control of the entire continent. Yeah, that sounds about right. He got voted in. Next thing you know, he's taking Canada and everything else. You know, it is said if he comes from the east, the destruction will not be as bad. But if he comes from the west, do not get up on your housetops to see, because he will have no mercy. And you know what? I believe that. And unfortunately, he does come from the west. So there's that. The true white brother will bring with him two great, intelligent, powerful helpers. Let's see. One of whom will have a sign of the, the one that I don't want to talk about, which actually is a masculine symbol of purity, is what that is. And that, this is something that Mr. H used. And there's a reason why he used that symbol. It's very, very powerful. Okay. It's just that now nobody can use it, obviously. And which is the sun sign. Okay. The second great helper. So I'm not sure who has that. Does he have anybody around him that is associated with this?
Oh, the only one it would be is that the guy he just had in the White House here a little bit ago. He had a big argument with.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's going to come out and say that they are, right? But we all know that nobody won the war, right? All the scientists, they all moved to Americas.
Yeah.
So America is literally founded on these people. So I mean, it'd be pretty hard to not find somebody in there that wasn't. But they're not going to come openly. Nobody can even say that word, without getting flagged. So we don't really know who it is, but maybe we do. The second great helper will have the sign of the Celtic cross. Now, I'm not going to show you the Celtic. Everybody knows what a Celtic cross looks like, or even a regular cross. Now, if you tilt that cross, what does it look like? An X.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So this is where the X thing comes. Yeah. So one is sign of that, and the other one, the X. And we know who that is. And so, and we'll read a little bit more about them. When the great purification is near, these helpers will shake the earth first with a short time of preparation. After they shake the earth 2 times more, they will be joined by the true white brother, who will become one with them and bring the purification day to the world. All 3 will help the younger brother, the Hopi and the pure-hearted people, to make a better world. In the prophecies, the 2 helpers are designated by the Hopi word for population, and as if there were large groups of people. The Hopi were warned that if these 3 great beings failed, terrible evil would befall the world, and great numbers of people would be unalived. However, it was said that if they would succeed, if enough Hopi remained true to the ancient spirit of their people, the true white brother and his helper will show the people are. Am I reading the right here?
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's because it's so small. I have a hard time reading this. If Hopi remain true to their ancient spirit of their people, the true white brother and his helpers will show the people of Earth a great new life plan that will lead to everlasting life. And this is kind of what Kennedy's doing, right? With the whole new health, everything is healthy, med beds, you name it, right? We're going to get all this
Yep.
great stuff that's going to give us, basically everlasting life. That's what we're always striving for, right? The earth will become
Yes.
new and beautiful again. Yes, we're going to clean her up. And with an abundance of life and food, those who are all saved will share everything equally. All races will intermarry and speak one tongue and be one family. This sounds just like the whole one world everything. It's going to be
Yep.
one world tongue. We already have that with the English now. I wasn't too
Yep.
sure which one it's going to be until Trump announced that, yeah, in America, we only speak English. All the other languages are gone. I'm assuming that Canada and all the other countries will be going aboard with that as well. And that will be our one living language that we talked about with the Georgia Guidestones, right? And
Yep.
everybody's, and we've already been intermarrying here in the Turtle Island anyways. That's kind of what that experiment was all about, is a melting pot, right, of all these different races and stuff like that, just one big happy
Yep.
family. And that's what the New World Order agenda is all. They were basically mixing Christianity and the New World Order agenda in one huge prophecy here, aren't they?
Yep.
Let's see here. Yeah. Hopi Prophecy states that World War II will be started by the people who first received the light: China, Palestine, India, and Africa. When the war comes, the United States will be destroyed by gourds of ashes. So this is, which will fall to the ground, boiling the rivers and burning the earth, with no grass will grow for many years and causing a disease that no medicine can cure. This can only mean nuclear or atomic bombs. No other weapon caused such effect. Bomb shelters will be useless, for these are for those who are at peace in their hearts already are in the great shelter of life. There is no shelter for evil. When the something blue Kachina dances in the plaza and removes his mask, the time of the great trial will be here. The Hopi believe that they are the only ones to be saved. Of course, everybody thinks that they're the only ones that are going to be saved.
That's right. You got to
Yeah,
be the only one.
Yeah, I know. The Hopi also have prophesied that Turtle Island would turn over 2 or 3 times and the oceans could join hands and meet in the sky. This seems to be prophecy of pole shift. Now, that's another series that we did on. And there is
Yep.
scientific evidence that it is shifting already. And it is actually a part of our natural cycles here on this planet. So, yeah, so that's definitely happening as well. So, a flipping of the planets on its axis. The Hopi call this imminent condition, and that of society today, as the Kwanotsky, which means world out of balance, a state of life that calls for another day. The Hopi prophecy was first published in mimeographed manuscript that circulated among the several Methodist and Presbyterian churches in 59. See? Christians in 1950, they merged this stuff. Some of
Right.
the prophecies were published in 1963 by Frank Waters in the Book of the Hopi.
Yep.
The account begins by describing how, while driving along a desert highway on a hot day in summer of 1958, a minister named David Young stopped to offer a ride to an Indian elder, who accepted with a nod. After riding in silence for several minutes, the Indian said, "I am White Feather of Hopi, of the ancient Bear clan. In my long life, I have traveled through this land, seeking out my brothers and learning from them many things full of wisdom. I have followed the sacred path of my people, who inhabited the forest and many lakes in the east, the land of ice and long nights in the north, and the places of holy altars of stone built many years ago." I'm assuming this is like Stonehenge and everything else. But my brothers fallen in the south. From all these, I have heard the stories from the past and the prophecies of the future. Today, many of the prophecies have turned to stories. A few are left. The past grows longer and the future grows shorter. And now the white feather is dying. His son have all joined the ancestors, and soon he shall be with them. But there are none but there is no one left, no one to recite and pass on the ancient wisdom. My people have tried the old ways, the great ceremonies that tell of our origins, of our emergency into the fourth world, are almost all abandoned, forgotten. Yet even this has been foretold. The time grows short. I don't know if I want to read everything else, because we've basically gone through the prophecies that I wanted to go through. Because it's already 7 o'clock now. So yeah, why don't we? I'll let you take over a little bit here, because I know you have a lot of things that you want to bring to the table as well. And yeah.
Just hang on a second. I get my stuff set up here
Hmm.
for a second.
If you guys got any questions, put them in there, people. Okay, we'll try and get to it during this show. If not, leave them down in the comment section for later, and we'll get back to you there. Yeah. Well, very interesting with the red hat and the guy with the X. I mean, come on.
Yes.
You know, like, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, even if they. Oh, what's going on?
Well,
why is it not showing? There it is.
Well,
There's that rock that we talked about.
There we go. Of course, we already went through this. This is the rock. You know, they're basing this whole thing on this one rock, which I'm thinking, you know, okay, I get it. And Nina, you went through it pretty good reading that thing. This is White Feather's prophecy here. I don't know much on that. There are these stone tablets that they have, you know, on the prophecy rock. I mean, you know, there's more to it than just this piece. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, you know what I mean? There's just more to it than that. And here's your sun with the thing in it. I can't say this. Here's your Celtic cross. I can blow this up a little bit, but I don't. Okay, and so we can go through some of these a little bit later. What I want to get to is right where you were started off or left off here, and I thought these were important. So these are the signs. You know, White Feather said, the coming of the white-skinned men, like Pahana, not living like Pahana. That would have been white men who took the land. Well, that was not theirs. Well, we can figure that one out. The men who struck their enemies with thunder, that would have been the first signs of guns. The second sign, our lands will see the coming of a spinning wheels filled with voices. Well, that would have been the wagon wheels. You know, the wagons with bringing families across the prairies. The third sign, a strange beast like a buffalo. Can you guess what that would be? With great long horns will overrun the land.
Our cattle that we brought from Europe.
Longhorns, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. Good guess. Good one. You're getting them all. The fourth sign, the land will be crossed by snakes of iron. What do you think that's going to be?
Well, it's just railroad
snakes of iron. Well, okay. That's so much for guessing.
Right there. I'm not that smart. Okay, right there.
Okay, the fifth sign, the land. I mean, like I said at the beginning, this is a little more obvious than Nostradamus. I mean, the fifth sign, the land shall be crisscrossed by giant spider's web. Well, we can say that would be electric power line. Yes.
Never mind the internet.
Sixth sign, the land.
Yeah.
Yeah. The sixth sign, the land should be crisscrossed with rivers of stone, make pictures in the sun, which I would imagine they're probably right. Highways, you know, stoplights, highways, you know, if you take a picture from above and look at the highways and cities and stuff, it does look like pictures of stone. You know, the seventh sign, you will hear of the sea turning black and many living things dying because of it. Could this be an oil spill? I don't know. Have we had that already? I mean, we've had many oil spills.
We have had too many, to be honest. But
yes, but you know, not everything hasn't really died.
Yeah.
Overall, in the ocean, you know, I think the biggest one was the Gulf of America. has had the biggest one.
Mhm.
Of course, if we have things that are going on now with all this shipping and where it's coming from, there could be a lot more oil spills coming in the near future. Put it that way. I mean, they didn't even have these giant tankers like they do now. Back in World War II, there was no such thing. Can you imagine 100 of these oil tankers getting all holes in them and leaking out at the same time? Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
you'd
Horrible.
pollute all the water
Yeah.
at the time. The eighth sign, you will see many youth who wear their hair long, like my people, come join tribal nations to learn their ways and wisdom. Could that been the hippie movement of the 60s? I don't know, or is this the things to come? Because we're right now, people are looking to, we're always talking about on our shows about how, we need to go back to nature. We need to, if things got really bad, people would want to join a commune and learn the ways of the land to survive. I don't think that one's actually happened.
I think it did start in the 60s with the hippie movement, but unfortunately they ex-nayed the hippie movement. They gaslit the whole Manson thing was all just a big. Anyways, they ex-nayed the whole, gaslit the hippie movement, so that the hippies were gone by the 70s, right? But now you see all kinds of people like Russell Brand and not so much Russell because he's moved over to Christianity, but they have the long hippie kind of look to them, right? And they're more into spirituality now, and it's all today. This is all today. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're more into learning about the old ways. I don't know how many shows I watch about how they're wanting to learn about plants and planting and going back to nature and living off grid.
This is a good thing that they are. They're getting prepared.
Well,
they don't know why.
It is.
They don't know why they're getting prepared, but they are getting prepared to go sort of back in time a little bit, where a lot of this technology is going to be gone.
Oh, I agree. See, what do you think of the hippie movement? To me, the hippie movement was more about drugs. It was against war, not peace, or peace, not war. And I don't think it had anything to do with learning wisdom. It was all about drugs and peace, not war.
No, that's how they portrayed it. The government made it look like that. No, what it is that people started looking and say, hey, because you just had a show about the 9 to 5 yesterday. And I think a lot of the youth were like, hey, wait a minute. Why am I working all this time? I never get to see my friends. I never get to, they just skipped out of work. So they, lazy. And there's on the beach smoking marijuana, having a good time and actually having time to think. You see, the government didn't want that. That is not beneficial to the government at all. So they had to ex-nay that whole thing because, start doing LSD and all these mushrooms and all this stuff. Oh, wow. People are starting to wake up. They're starting to realize what's going on. We can't have that. So we're going to have to now gaslight that whole hippie movement with exactly that attitude that you just had. They're just doing drugs and not.
Oh no, I agree.
They're lazy. They're all of this, and then the whole Manson. What happened there with that guy and whatever? He was a CIA operative. What happened there didn't actually happen the way that they said it was. It was a way for them to gaslit the whole hippie movement. Because we were starting to get even the music.
Like I said.
That Lennon and all these people are starting to say, peace, and wouldn't it be nice if we could just get along? And we got to ex-nay that. Oh no, we don't want that. So that's what happened there, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah. See, so I don't think the 7th sign has happened. I think the 8th sign is starting to happen now.
Okay, what is the 7 now then? Before you dismiss it, what is the rest?
The 7th one is about the sea turning black, with many living things dying because of it. And I'm
that's
thinking,
already happening. That's already happening where we can't eat as much seafood as we want because we're going to get mercury poisoning, right? Our waters are polluted and it's going to get worse. If we have any of those things that they talked about there, the atomic things and all this, that's going to pollute the water.
Well, I'm thinking if there is that war that's coming, the first thing they're going to do is, ixnay all the oil tankers, and that would turn the sea black, and everything
Well,
would die.
they might
Because it would,
do that because the one of the, like, we need the sunshine and we need water. Without that, we're not going
yes,
to fare too well. So if they want
you
to,
know,
take us out, taking
yeah,
out the water would be, and that would kill everything, all our food, everything. So yeah, that is, we're already
yes.
well on our way to that. It's just not all in one day. It's taken some time, but yeah, no, our
Well,
waters
I
are
know, but I'm thinking,
yeah.
because like when the Gulf of Mexico happened, oh boy, it was a big thing, the BP disaster, but it all went away, and now everybody's in the Gulf of Mexico. Nobody talks about it; just went away.
We're not talking
So
about it,
like
but
I
it's
said,
still there. It's still there. It's still an
yeah,
issue.
but I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Um,
sort of, but it's not like it polluted all the waters of the ocean. But I think it's still to come. That's just my opinion. I
and the
think the
eighth
eighth
sign,
sign
we're already
maybe
there.
happen.
The eighth sign,
I
we're
think
already there.
that's.
Yeah.
I think this is happening now.
It's
I
happening
think
now.
when the food crunch comes and there's less internet, maybe people will go to the old ways. I mean, yeah, this is starting to happen right now.
Yeah.
The ninth sign.
Yeah. Keep going here.
And then this is the ninth sign, the last
Like the
sign.
last
You
sign.
hear of a dwelling place in the heavens above the earth that shall fall with a great crash. It will appear as a blue star. Very soon after this, the ceremonies of my people will cease. The ninth sign could be or might be the U.S. space station. They said Skylab. Skylab happened a long time
79.
ago when
I
it
know this
happened.
did happen a long time ago, and I
Yeah.
think this is why the books came out when they did. Right? The books came out in 59.
Well, but that's what I'm saying is
79,
people.
20 years later. Yeah, it was just in time for the hippie
Yeah,
movement, just in time for this. So, and they're saying that it appeared.
That's
So, I wasn't
but
around for
so
that,
what I'm saying is people see these things and they want to associate, like, Trump with the red hat, and they want to embrace that and go, yeah, that's the sign. Well, is it? Or is it something to come? Skylab coming down, it came down, nothing really happened. I think it's more like now this meteor coming, or this thing, Apophis, I think it's called, in a few years. That one that's supposed to get so close to the Earth, it's going to fly between the moon and the Earth. I mean, that could be something that could be witnessed as a big blue that everybody will see, because I don't remember seeing Skylab. I was around in '79. So were you?
Well,
Did you see Skylab?
I was just a kid in '79, so I wouldn't have paid attention to that anyways. It would have been on the news, and I don't watch that as a kid, so I have no idea.
But
I don't remember Skylab. However, when I was reading this in my little article there, they're talking about things up in the sky. Well, what is Elon Musk doing? What does Elon want to do? He wants to move to Mars, right? He wants to
yeah,
start up a colony up in Mars. Well, according to what I found out, there's already colonies there.
yeah,
I remember this was last year or whatever. I went in, I can't remember, one of those apps on the whatever it is. I asked, how many people are living up on Mars? And they gave me a number. There's a number. It's there, so that's the thing about this chat GPT and all this kind of stuff. They're actually telling you there's people already living up on Mars. And so that's already happened.
yes.
We already have these sky stations or whatever it is that they called it there. So
But
that's already happening as well, and
but then again, we got things like Project Bluebeam, where they're going to project into the sky so everybody can see it at one time. And I think that's what this is going to be, because some people in Australia witnessed
there's a lot more about that in here. I don't know what you have here exactly, but I've read a lot more about this. They're talking about there's going to be starships coming. There's going to be all kinds of. So I don't know if you want to just continue reading there, because it is very interesting.
Well, I wanted to go over this. I don't think the last three things have happened yet. I think the seventh sign is to come. I believe the eighth sign is happening, and I believe the ninth sign is to come, later here too. Like I said, I don't think it was Skylab. Skylab happened a long time ago. It was only seen by some Australian people. So does that make it true? I think it's got to be seen by the whole world in order to be
No, there's
true.
probably more to come. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's more to come. It's already
And then,
happening, though. Is kind of the point here. Is
well,
that
well,
there
of
has been
course.
incidences,
Well,
in the
like the
past.
just like the train tracks, or the lines, the
Mhm.
webs, just because they invented electricity and put some telephone poles up, it didn't cross the land all over the place in a day. It took years to make all those railroad tracks or all the
Yeah.
roads. So, and it took years for the white man to come from the east to the west. So, like I said, so anyway, so they go on, they want to make it true. So they tell you that these things, it's up to you to really figure this out. And it talks about the columns of smoke, such as fire, such a white feather has seen the white man make in the desert far from here. It talks about atomic bombs, a great disease and a great dying. Well, we could see that, and it might not even be an atomic reaction. It might be, in this day and age, it could be simple as a virus. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Hmm.
Anyway, many my people will be unsafe. Those that stay and live in places of my people shall also be safe. There will be much to rebuild, and then the fifth world, the dawn of the fifth world. You shall plant the seeds of wisdom in their heart. Blah blah blah. Okay, white feather shall not see it. Well, yeah, he's old. The
Yeah, he
Indian fell
is.
silent, and he arrived at his destination. So this David Young is getting all this information from this white feather guy who literally took a ride in his car. I
Hmm.
don't
Hmm.
know, you know, how much of that is, what you can really depend on. But like I said, these are some of the
Well, this
things.
is it. You know, is it the chicken or the egg? Like did Trump choose the red hat because of that? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
are they? You know what I mean? So you just don't know. Like, but then the more I'm reading into it now, it just sounds like a religious text. It sounds
Well,
like a
yeah, yeah.
same
Like I
story.
said, this stuff came out in 1959 at where a religious conference.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Hmm. Trying to
we can
convert
go.
maybe the natives into thinking that it was their idea, and that so
Yeah.
I don't know, it makes you wonder. Yeah.
We can
um,
go through these tablets. I don't think I'm going to go through the tablets, but our tablets, that talk about Ophiuchus, Cancer, Capricorn. But did the Indians know anything about these things? I don't know. I don't know if this is so true or people just trying to put labels on a lot of these things. I am not very sure. Like I said, they people feed into stuff a lot, stuff they don't
mhm.
understand and they want to make true. It's kind of, in my head, my opinion is, when you look at a cloud and it looks like an elephant, your mind wants to make it an elephant. You know what I'm saying? And you say, oh, it looks like an elephant. But then you look at it and says, no, that's a rhinoceros. You see where I'm going with that? So
Yeah,
when they're
well,
looking
yeah.
at these things, they're saying, oh, look at this. Right away, where does your mind go when it looks at this symbol right here?
Hmm.
Or when you look at this symbol, Knights Templar, that's what it tells me. I don't see a
Hmm.
Celtic cross. I see Knights Templar. That's,
Hmm.
when I see stuff like this, I think, growing crops and animals and a fence, with people watching them. I see this guy here. I see maybe an evil man coming. Everybody's going to have their own. So it's up to you to determine these
Hmm.
signs. They see these signs on the rock wall, and who is spending their whole day trying to figure this out? I don't know. You got
Yeah.
this, which you see everywhere. You see this all over the place. And of course, the Kachina that you're talking about,
Hmm.
you went over, is that blue star exploding, the crashing blue star that lights up the sky, And of course, we want to go into this, they're whisked away a little bit. So I'm going to say here. Okay, so the good sign, get ready to go forward. The West is going to go through a difficult time for humanity. They're going to bring back, the guy will bring back a tablet of humanity to the Hopi. The other one will be taken from here, and then the planets, they'll be flown away. They believe that the people, the sky people, will come back, and it will be flown away, maybe to other planets, or flown away into ships without wings. It says,
Yeah.
and then and then of course they're basing this all on this rock thing. And then they will send, some people will ascend to the fifth world, and the others who don't, what did they say? Oh, well, they'll have their heads chopped off. And I'm thinking, well, that, me and David Null have read tons of books or tons of stories, and in every story, everybody's like, oh, look at, the giant chopped the heads off. It's a head collector. The giants are always, chopping heads. Let's play a game. The loser gets his head chopped. It's like, so that just makes perfect sense with the myths and tales. I don't know. But then again, it also sounds like that movie, the Left Behind series.
Well, now that we know that, it was a Christian guy that wrote the book,
Yeah.
they were from the,
Well,
it sounds
exactly.
to me they're trying to make the Hopi prophecy thing go with the Christian narrative of what they got going on.
This is what gets people on board. It's just like a church, when the Spanish came over to the Americas, they took the natives, took their sacred place, and they built a church there because that's where the natives felt was a sacred place. And henceforth, they would come to the church because, well, that was our sacred place before, so we'll just keep going there. You get what I'm saying? You can see it throughout Europe. Right now, if you remember, even when Delabore was on, he says the Muslims would come, they buy up a church, and then what do? They put up a mosque on there. And now it's a mosque instead of a Christian church. They take down the big cross and put up.
That's what people do. Yeah, that's what they do. They come in, they conquer, and they'll place their spiritual building on top of the previous one. And that's what we seem to do. Yeah.
So
that's kind of claiming a territory. It's kind of like dogs with their peeing and everything. It's just what we do. So
I think in a way, this story is. If I could find a version of this story from the 1700s, the 1500s or something, because the Spanish were up in that area, why weren't they talking about this prophecy? Did they write it down? How come nobody knows about it until the early 1900s or so? And then all of a sudden it's like, well, Christianity had been around at this point for several 200-300 maybe more years, from 15, 16, 17. Oh my gosh, it's been around for 300 years.
Yeah, hundreds of years. Yeah. So there you go. So I will be almost. It's too bad we don't have somebody that like a native guy that would know. Now is a good time to talk to an elder to see what they think of this. Is this actually, a Hopi prophecy, or is this some kind of psyop, basically?
Well,
to merge there, because they want to merge them to try and convince maybe the natives that, hey, look, our religion is just like yours. We're all just one big happy family here, right? To try and get them on board, because I think the natives are probably the only people that are said no to it. I said, oh, screw you. You might live here, but I'm not believing in your, stuff, whatever. Leave me alone. They still are like that today. And so this would have been a good way for them to twist it into, basically lying to them, to say that, hey, look, it's the same thing. We're all on the same team here. Come on into the church, 10%.
But exactly, it tells in there, in this thing, as you were reading, it talks about the two paths. You can go with the path of technology and advancement, or you can go with the native path, and that's of nature and blah blah blah, and that's the one that the Hopi took, and that's the true path. Well, that would just encourage you to if you were a Hopi saying, well, I get
maybe
to
your way
choose.
is not so good. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
maybe I should choose this path, and
Yeah.
then I'm saved. Whereas if I choose the path of technology and the materialism and advancement, things could get really rocky. It's kind of like being an Amish, guys. When the kids are there, they get to choose. You're going to become an Amish and drive a buggy, or you're going to go with the white man and drive a car and watch TV and do all those cool things. Kind of give them that choice. It's kind of like the two paths. You see where I'm going?
Well,
But that happens everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a different version of it.
I think at the end of this show, I think we just kind of, disproves the whole thing, or just kind of, I don't know. I'm curious to see what you guys think. I don't know. Some of you might be, I know the native people and heard more from the grassroots end of it. I don't know. I'd be curious to see. Comment down below, guys, if you have any other information to go with this. Are we on the right track here, or are we completely off? So yeah, have you say in the comments section. I don't see a lot of questions here. There's not many people here. The algorithm is not in our favor, but that's okay. We're doing the show for ourselves anyway. So
not tonight. Yeah. But that's the thing. Most of this is swaying people's opinion. You have to use your imagination, and a lot of people don't want to think. They just want to be told, just like any religion. You go to the thing, you sit down, and the preacher says, this is the way it is. And I got a book here that tells you 50 ways of Sunday, how to do what I tell you, I'm telling you. And, well, sure, whatever, sir, okay, And it's the same with all of them. I mean, so it's up to you, your opinions of what all this means. And is it true? Or is it made up? Nina, you're muted.
Sorry, I muted myself. I thought I'd unmuted it. But yeah, the only little caveat to this, I guess, to be the devil's advocate, if you will, is that they talk about other planets, and they're talking about, you know what I mean? So they're talking more the Anunnaki. So I don't see the church going along with that.
No.
So there's that. There's a lot of Anunnaki sort of feel to it here, with what they were talking about there. And Bonnie's saying it's a lot. Yeah, Bonnie, you got to go back and revisit the beginning here. We've been going for an hour and a half.
But still, with the other planets and stuff, there are a lot of other cultures that talk about other planets and things, flying vimanas, in India, and the Christian religion really doesn't talk about other planets, but they talk about heavens up there, and the angels coming down, and where do they live? They live they live up there. Well, where is there? Nobody really asks,
Well, that's just it, because they don't have an answer. It's heaven. That's it. And the story there. There's, so, and, they don't, I mean, even with the whole, the Holy Spirit impregnates, Mary or whatever. Well, what do you think that is? It's, we kind of understand more now with the whole artificial conceptions and stuff like that, with the science, whatever. But back in the day, there's, well, that's what it says. That's the way it is. Didn't think of it. Yeah, exactly.
Just happens.
And I guess, if you do have in vitro or not in vitro, I guess anyway, I'm not even going to go there. I guess you could call it a conceptual, but because it didn't happen the old fashioned way, but but still, anyways, very interesting though. I mean, it was an interesting topic for sure, but the more you read, the more you kind of look, and the more you already know, you can kind of see that, this sounds so familiar. I mean, this sounds like, So who came first? Was it religion that took this information and used it for themselves, or did they give this to the Hopis, trying to convince them that, hey, we're all the same here. We're all, it's the same
Yeah.
God. Your
Well,
spirit is God.
I got a simple one for you. This is going to be simple, easy peasy. It's like the horse. The horse we know when the horse came to North America. Yet the natives, talk about it as the horse has always been here.
Is that right? Okay, I haven't
Yeah.
really looked into your, the history of America there. So when did the horses come in? See, you know a lot more of this stuff than I. When did they come
The
in?
horses came in with the Spanish, and but
How did they get the horses on the boat? They had the horses on the boat.
The first Spanish, even Columbus brought horses. They all brought horses, and then when they got here, the horses, multiplied, and then the natives eventually got them, and they worked their way up into North America. But the thing is that after hundreds and hundreds of years, the natives could, because they didn't write things down.
That's true. I know.
Said, hey, the horse has always been here. For God's sakes, it's always been here. The horse, we had horses forever. I don't remember a day before the horse.
That would be like asking a teenager today, about, before the internet. What are you talking about before that? The internet's always been here, because he's never experienced anything different,
Yeah.
So that is very interesting. We almost need to bring a native person in here, because we're talking out of, because I don't know, how much. What's being passed down, really. But yeah, being done orally means that only the elders knew. And so if you weren't paying attention, I guess, to what the elders were saying, that information is gone, and you got nothing to pass down now. By the time you're an elder, you know what I mean? So with it not being written down, so there's probably a lot of stuff that's missed from the natives, which is really too bad, because I want to know about what it was like here before we came, and what it was like from their past. Because in Africa they talk about sort of the Anunnaki story, and that's also passed on orally, but it must have been kept up more, maybe. I don't know. I don't want to be saying they're trying to offend somebody here, saying that they're not paying attention, they're not remembering correctly, but
the stories,
a lot of it. Yeah,
they do get improvised, like this white, the whatever his name was, he says, hey, I got nobody to pass it on to. White Feather, hey, all my kinfolk are doing different stuff, and I'm the last, I'm old, and blah blah blah, so I'm going to tell you, so. But that's the thing, is we know that when the great diseases came along, that 90% of the natives in America died off. That means that if your tribe had 100 people, 10 of them lived. And if all the elders died,
and how much did they pay attention to the elders speaking? And I know how teenagers and young folk are today. I can only imagine they were probably fairly similar, one track mind back, at that age, and a lot of it probably didn't retain, so that's human nature.
All those stories would have died off with them.
Yeah, they would have, which is really too bad, because that's the stuff that we want to talk about. We want to know where we come from and all this. So now all we got is the Sumerian tablets that we're studying here, or we'll continue on next week. I actually got EA co-editing coming on, so that will be interesting. A little break, I guess, and then we'll return with the Anunnaki after that. I guess we're into April.
The big thing with the Anunnaki, the only reason that we have that is because of the Sumerian tablets. They were written in clay. And once they figured out how to read them, the stories came out. That's literally the only reason that we have something that's so incredibly old. Otherwise, if you would have wrote it on paper or anything else, it would have been gone.
Yeah, it would be gone.
1,000 years ago, it would have been all destroyed.
So the only thing we really have from the natives are the glyphs that we find, but we don't really know how to interpret them. That's the problem. And so, but there is there is a lot of glyphs that are indicating that there's other types of species around, and spaceships, and indicating things like that. So
Yeah.
definitely they saw something. They wouldn't have sat there and chiseled it in if it wasn't important.
Yeah.
So there's that. So we gotta look into it some more, I guess. But yeah, I'll be curious to hear you guys, your opinions. If you know any more about this, or you got any opinions at all, put them in the comment section, okay, guys, and share this out. Maybe somebody else might find this interesting, and or have some other stuff to contribute to it. So yeah, I think that's all we got this week. Do you
Yep.
have what's your last words here tonight, Robert?
Well, like I said, read it over, look it up, try to interpret it for yourself. See what makes sense for you. Remember, nobody has all the truth.
No.
A little bit of truth here and a little bit of truth there. Like you said, it sounds similar to all the other ones. So you're already picking up a little bit here and a little bit there. And it's like, well, maybe the truth lies somewhere in the middle. And that's where you want to be. And everybody, if you want to find out more stuff about the Native Americans, join me and David Null on Tuesday nights, where we have plenty of Indian myths and legends, as best that they can be, wrote down from some really old books.
There you go. So we're gonna have to watch that, I guess. Yeah. Did you do a show on the Hopi the other day, or?
Yes. We read some creation stories, and I've been doing the Navajo and the Hopi and the Anasazi, and it's really kind of funny, because they're saying that the Anasazi came and they were known, that word is known as the enemy, but yet the Hopi are known as the peaceful people. So if the Hopi were descendants of the Anasazi, or the Navajo were, then how did the Anasazi become from the enemy to the peaceful people? Good question.
That is a good question. Yeah, that shows you how things are miscued, or spinned a different way at different times, and to appease the agenda of the day and whatever. So that makes me wonder, like, this whole red hat and the whole X thing, and like, wow, that does sound like today, doesn't it? And the way the world is going right now, it's no wonder that we're thinking that. But however, I do realize that many people before us have set dates. They've done, and times are come and gone, and we're still here. Even the whole, me getting into this back in 2011, it's very interesting though. This whole thing here. And like I said in the beginning, I can do a reading for you using this. If you want to just book in for a private session, that's one of the things we can do there. I find it very interesting. There's a lot more to the astrology and whatever than just the Western stuff. So very interesting. But and I peaceful people, and I think if we live the way that the natives were living, I think that's the way we're supposed to be living. It's the less carbon footprint, if you want to go that way. You know what I mean? You look at it, they put up the tent, they do their eating and their shitting, and when it's full, you move on to the next spot, let that spot recover. You know what I mean? That makes more sense to me than what we're doing. And
again, that's one of the parts on that the signs there, the 7th or 8th sign, where the people are going to be returning to the land, the old ways. They're going to look for the wisdom.
That's what I'm saying.
Where are they going to find it?
We're going to have to, and that's what I was saying on your show. I know I was a little harsh on the Americans last night on your show, but we're going to have to go back to the way it should be, really. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, just think, if all the power shut off and you didn't know what to do, who would? You would go to the natives who are living off grid, and they would say, oh, we've been doing this for hundreds of years. Just follow our lead. See those plants over there? We can eat those. And see that tree over there? That could make some glue. And, we can do this. And you could make a house by just piling these branches up and throwing some grass over it or something. And people will be like, really? Wow. I got nothing. You got to do a little hard work, and there you go, shelter.
I actually, when I was researching for the show today, and I can't remember which video, I was watching something, but he was talking about EMP. And that's what I've been thinking. It doesn't make sense that they're going to just destroy a whole continent. But an EMP, that would wipe us out real quick. You know what I mean? Like in a couple years.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't know how to survive. You know what I mean? Then all of a sudden, grandpa and grandpa, you know, all of a sudden their knowledge is, because they lived through it, you know, some of them. So yeah, the elders are definitely going to be coming back. And I think this is why a lot of the young people are feeling it already to move towards that. You know, because we can't sustain what we're doing here. This is impossible. So, but anyways, I'm not gonna keep up your time anymore here. I know you're busy, and so is everyone else. So thank you all so much for watching. And if you would like to support the show, you know, we do have a merch store. I did show you a little of the new stuff in the beginning of the video. If you want to go back and rewatch that, and there's lots of links and down in the description here are ways to support my channel as well as Robert's channel. Go and subscribe to him, and make sure that you share it out, subscribe and like and all that good stuff. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.